friends, welcome back to day 2 of our vocabulary program from books from I Was So Mad by Mercer Mayer. So before we get started with our new words, I want to ask you, what do you remember about our word allow? Go ahead and pause and tell your partner right now what you remember about the word. All right, so did you remember it means to let someone do something or have something? Good. What do you remember about the word frustrated? Tell them right now. Right. It is a kind of being mad, isn't it? I'm mad that you're not allowed to do something that you want to do. Good. All right, so in our book, I Was So Mad, little Critter's frustrated because he can't do the things that he wants to do. Right? We went over that yesterday. Let's look on page 10. All right, so on this page, it says, so I decided to decorate the house, but Grandpa said, no, you can't do that either. So he had wanted to water the garden, but he was told no, so he decided to paint the house instead. Our first word today is going to be decide. Decide is when you make up your mind about something. So little Critter couldn't water the garden, so he made up his mind, I'm gonna paint the house instead. Wasn't really a good decision, but that's what he decided to do. All right, let's see. Oh, we're gonna look on page 16 and 17 right here. So in this part of the story, little Critter decides to do something. I want you to listen carefully about what he decides to do, and this is what you're gonna talk to your partner about in a second. You won't let me do anything I wanna do, I said. I guess I'll run away. That's how mad I was. What did little Critter decide to do? So tell your partner, little Critter decided to, go ahead right now. He decides to run away, doesn't he? Again, good decision? Not so much, but deciding on something just means you've made up your mind. It doesn't mean you made up your mind about a good thing or a bad thing. It just means you've made your decision. You've decided what to do. You made up your mind. All right, let's take a look at the card for decide. Ooh, so in this picture, it's a little boy deciding what book he wants to get. There's lots of good books here. There's ones about bats and trains, and he's picking up one on fairy tales. So he's made up his mind that he's going to read the book about fairy tales. So when we do our gesture, we're going to kind of do like him, right? When you're deciding, sometimes you say, and tap on something. So we're going to say, decide. Can you do it? Decide. Good. All right, let's discuss it a little bit further. All right, so this morning I was trying to decide what to wear, but today is Spirit Day. It's Friday that I'm making this recording, so I decided to wear my gator shirt, right? And then I also decided to wear my green and blue flowers that go along because they match our gator colors. I'm going to give you some questions, and I'm gonna describe 2 things, and you're gonna talk about what you would decide to have out of those 2 things, okay? So imagine it's breakfast. You might have cereal for breakfast, or you might have eggs. What would you decide to have? Tell your partner. I would decide to, tell them right now. Interesting. All right, so imagine you're at the playground, okay? Here's your decision. Would you decide to play on the swings or the slide? Tell your partner, I would decide to play on, go ahead. All right, last decision. Would you decide to go to the zoo or to the circus? Tell tell your partner, I would decide to go where? Good. So what's the new word we learned that means to make up your mind about something? Do the gesture. Decide. Good. All right. So the next word we're going to learn is from page 14 and 15. All right. So this is when little critter decided he wanted to practice his juggling but his mom said he couldn't do it because, oh my goodness, he was making a mess by cracking all those eggs. So the second word we're going to learn is practice. So practice means to do something over and over again so that you can do it better. So he's practicing his juggling. Well, he started to practice his juggling, but he didn't get to practice his juggling, and he definitely is not very good at it because he's breaking eggs, right? All right, so let's take a look at our picture card. Ooh. Have you guys ever gotten an opportunity to try to shoot a basketball into a hoop? It's not as easy as it looks, and it takes practice to get better and better at it. So that's what these kids are doing in the picture. They're practicing shooting hoops with the basketball so that they can get better at it. All right, so when I was little, I took a class at school on the piano, and I would get these pieces of music that I'd have to learn, and on every Friday we would have like a little recital where we played for the kids in our class. So I had a keyboard at home, and I would practice my songs every night so that I could get really good at it and try to play it without making mistakes on Friday for our performance. I also used to be in karate when I was little, and to move up to the next color in your belt or get the tips for it would be like when I was little, it would get the tips and then the whole belt, and then the next color and the tip and then the whole belt. But I would have to practice my punches and my kicks, and we would do like a routine that I have to memorize and perform in order to move on to the next level. All right, so what is something that you practice doing? What's something that you try over and over again because you want to get better at it? Go ahead and pause right now and tell somebody, I practice, and they probably already know because they know you really well because they're at your house. All right, go ahead. Ooh. Make sure that your partner gets a chance to share too what they practice doing. All right, have you both shared? Great. So I'm gonna ask you a question I haven't asked you before. It's about your critical listening. Tell me what your partner practices doing. Sometimes we think so much about our own answer that when our partner talks, we forget to really listen to what they're saying. You might hear them and nod, but you might not be really listening and not be able to repeat it. All right, so what's the new word that we learned where you do something over and over again so that you get better at it? Practice. How about our gesture is we're shooting hoops, okay? Practice. And your face should look like, ooh, I'm having a hard time doing this. Practice. All right, let's go over all 4 words. You ready? That word is allow. It means to let somebody do something. The next one is frustrated. You're trying to do something, but you can't, and you're getting mad. Decide. That means you make up your mind about something. And then lastly, practice. You do something over and over again so that you can get better at it. All right, guys, thank you so much for learning some new words. I hope that you're using them outside of our little lessons, making your vocabulary richer, and I will see you next week for 4 new words. Bye, guys.